Hold on to your butts.
Don't move, you're surrounded by armed bastards.
What are we going to do?
Well, I say let's get out there and twat it.
Welcome everybody to episode 3 of the Cabin Night podcast. Today's episode is festivals. Some of us have been to many, some of us have been to slightly less, and some of us have been to a few.
Some have been to even less, yeah.
I felt like a dig, that.
A little bit. I just want to say one thing before we get into the podcast properly. Get yourselves a drink, sit down and enjoy the discussion. So, we've all been to festivals, we've all been to many festivals. It's going to be not so much of an interview, but an interview-based discussion. Firstly, Jake.
Hello.
Best festival you've ever been to, and why?
Ooh. Okay. It's kind of twofold, my answer, because I'm awkward like that and I can never answer anything
You
simply.
awkward, never.
I would say that the best lineup we've ever seen was Bloodstock 17. Bloodstock 17, where we had Monomarth and Ghost and all the other bands that played over the weekend, was
One
fantastic.
of the very few festivals I didn't go to.
However, I could probably still say that my favourite festival, simply because of the experience in the moment, was Download 2010.
Your second
Because
Download.
it was my second time at Download, and we camped in Gold Camp just below the tree, and we were overlooking the racetrack, and there was a massive group of us. There must have been 11 people in our group. So in terms of that aspect of a festival, the camping side and the social aspect of it, it was the biggest one I'd been to. So yeah, I'd say for the lineup, Bloodstock 17, for the camping social aspect, Download 10.
Okay. James?
See, I've got a very small pool to choose from.
Which Bloodstock was your favourite?
Actually, none of the... Well,
So, which Sonosfit? Oh, you only went to one.
Well,
so.
yes, okay. I've only been to 5 festivals. However, again, like Jake, I've got several different aspects to the answer to this question. I loved Sonisphere 2011. It was the first festival I ever went to. It's the only time also I've bought a ticket on the strength of one act. I bought my Sonisphere ticket on the strength of Slipknot. Because at the time, obviously, Paul Gray hadn't long left us. And there were a few rumours flying around that this may be Slipknot's last hurrah. This may be... Obviously, this proved out not to be the case, but it was...
Probably should have been.
Well, arguably, no, I think they've had a few bits. That's a different discussion all the time. But I'd argue they've had a few good bits since then. But there were rumours that this was it. They were going to do a memorial tour for Paul and then call it quits, and that would be it. Slipknot as we know it. Maybe they'd pop back every now and again, like doing the random gig or random tour. But Slipknot as a thing would be done after this. So I bought my ticket on the strength of that. So for me, everything else was a bonus. So the fact that Metallica was playing, the fact that Biffy Clyro, who were a wonderful surprise that weekend,
Turned out to be really
they turned out to be really,
entertaining,
really good. All 3 headliners were solid. Today I wasn't expecting anything from Biffy Clyro.
They sounded good from campsite.
I really enjoyed everything was a bonus. Everything was a bonus for me at that festival. I mean, okay, Mastodon were, when I fell asleep, but the fact that I could say
Sugar crash.
my sugar crash after Mastodon, but the fact that I saw Bill Bailey, who was one of my favourite stand-ups, then going in to see Slipknot was like, that was an amazing experience for me.
Did he do his Enter Sandman bit?
He did do Enter Sandman.
You missed out the unpleasant Limp Biscuit in between.
Whoa.
No, we saw the first 10 minutes of Limp Bizkit and went, this is shit, and
Nope.
walked off. So that was good.
So that's just me then.
For the full lineup, I agree with Jake. I agree Bloodstock 17. Because that was a Monomarth, Ghost, and then there was some other third headliner that we weren't bothered about, but we saw
I don't think anybody were bothered about that third.
No, it was
headline.
an
Oh yeah, that thrash band.
Yeah, they played to an empty field as far as I remember. Everyone was back at the campsite getting drunk. So everyone got...
For those who can't see the lineup poster that we have in front of us now, it was Megadeth.
It was Megadeth. But for the lineup, it was brilliant. I saw Testament for the first time. I saw Blind Guardian for the only time, and that literally will be the only time I see Blind Guardian. For a band I love that much, I'd never want to see them again. Seriously, they are. I don't want to sound racist, but they're the most German band I've ever heard.
It says a lot for German efficiency, though.
Oh, it was great.
It
They
was
played
very clinical.
They sounded exactly the same as they do on the record. What was more impressive is that they weren't playing with their own equipment. They were playing with other bands' equipment. I can't remember what the reason was. They were playing with other bands' equipment. So that was brilliant. They were really efficient. First time I saw Creator, who were brilliant. All Skindred. First time I saw Skindred, brilliant. Hell, the last time I've seen Hell. Okay, they weren't.
Anybody's going to see Hell.
Yeah, so it was okay. They were
Unless
brilliant.
Hell are listening and want to do some more shows.
Yeah, hell yeah. Andy, can you get out of every single band in the world
And stop producing.
Yeah,
You're very good with Judas Priest, but please come back to hell.
please come back. In the nicest possible way, go to hell. So for the lineup for that, but then again, for the actual full-on experience of being at a festival, I actually will say 2018. 2017 as well, I should say. It was partially part of my stag do as well, so I was dressed as a nun for the entire weekend. Well, most of it. But 2018 was a really nice vibe because there was only 4 of us. So it was a really nice vibe, I thought, that weekend. I'm not saying
I was included in that one.
You were included.
Yeah, it is the first time that the three of your
The only time,
humble host actually attended a festival together.
Yes.
It was. Although we were all at 2011, but separately.
Well, not separate. You two went together and I was.
Well, yeah, we didn't know you at that point.
Yes.
So for those reasons, I mean, okay, to be fair, that only leaves out then 2 other festivals I've been to. But for different reasons, I'd say them. If push comes to shove, I think I'll still push for Sonosphere 2011, simply because it was my first.
Okay.
And it had, like I said, I went to see Slipknot, and I love Slipknot that night. I know you said you didn't think they were great that night, but I love Slipknot that night.
No, the Slipknot thing is interesting because I bought my ticket solely on, believe it or not, the 4 thrash bands that played on the Friday.
You like thrash?
I do indeed
That's
like
surprising,
thrash.
I didn't know
I know
that.
we've joked about it so far, but I do indeed like thrash. Slipknot was a bonus for me, but much like I'd heard of, it's going to be really emotional. There's going to be so much done for Paul and all that sort of stuff. I didn't get that at all. It was like a Slipknot show until they put his effigy up on the thing, his old boiler suit with his mask, and Joey hugged the boiler suit, and that was about the most emotional bit I got. Other than putting number 2 up on the back.
Yeah.
But it was about the most emotional bit.
So that's interesting because I was really invested in it.
Yeah.
I was completely in that game.
But how many times have you seen Slipknot by that
That
point?
was the second time I saw Slipknot.
So I'd seen Slipknot 3 or 4 times by
Okay.
that point. And I'd seen them without Clown. I'd seen them without Jim as well.
Oh, okay.
Jim had missed. I think it must have been Download or Leeds in 2003, I think. But he'd missed one of the shows, and then Clown. It was Clown's daughter actually had been born.
Oh, been born because she died.
It was 2005.
Yeah.
So she'd been born, and I remember Corey saying particularly, "I want you to make sure that Clown hears you. Scream, make sure that Clown can hear you."
Okay.
So yeah, I'd seen them before, and I just thought that for all the hype that they gave about could be end of Slipknot, as you've said, as you know it's going to be end of Slipknot and all this. I just didn't get that it didn't come across on stage for me.
I would ask the question though. It's an interesting point because I suppose I'd probably be in between you two in that respect. You were sold. I was slightly more concerned with the lead singer of Asking Alexandria snorting coke off a key about 3 rows in front of us, but that's a different matter.
Was he?
Yeah.
It's old Danny Warsnap.
Danny Worsnap. He was the guy, incidentally, who put his umbrella up when it started raining, and Joe, completely unaware of the aforementioned line sniffing,
Alleged. Let's not get into a legal battle.
alleged. So it's the guy who looked like the lead singer of a band. Who we'll leave it there. But yeah, my brother tapped him on the shoulder when he put his umbrella up when it started to rain and went, "Come on, mate, I can't see you." And this guy whose eyes looked like bloody golf balls at the time turned around and stared at my brother, and I thought, he's going to get stabbed here. He's going to get stabbed. But he didn't, luckily. So I was possibly more engaged in that at this point, but obviously you weren't sold. You were in the moment. So much so that, you maybe assaulted somebody during the set accidentally. But
We will explain this.
No.
It's better without explanation.
You can't accuse the lead singer of Asking Alexandra allegedly for taking coke and then not say, and then suddenly accuse me of assault.
Assaulting a woman, no less. A woman much smaller than him.
Yes, I was rather into. Before I forget, which has got the wonderful anthemic "I am a worm." All that. So on every "I," you raise your fist in the air, and I didn't realise I was clouting this poor woman next to me every time I raised my arm up. But then not on the raise, but on the way back down, I swung it back down with full force. But man, I wasn't drunk. I was just really happy to be there. And then they obviously left after that song. And I just turned around to the group. Well, they were a bit fucking miserable, weren't they? Not realising that I've been clouting them for the entire sort of game.
I just think the woman that you'd been punching for sort of 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes, however long the song is, had been sort of holding off the 18-foot tall meathead stood behind her. It was clearly her partner from sort of systematically removing all your limbs one by one.
I don't remember that. But that festival has actually got one of my favourite gig stories ever, which is when we saw Motorhead. Which is, they played a couple of songs, I don't know, the Motorhead ones, you know all that. To be fair, they were great, they were really good fun. And then Lemmy goes off stage and he goes, oh, don't worry, Lemmy's just gone to change his bass. And you can see Lemmy faffing behind all the amps. Lemmy then comes back on 30 seconds later with the exact same guitar, just rubbing his nose and going, right, let's play Overkill. So you go, oh, okay, yeah, Lemmy was changing his bass.
Powdering his nose.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I mean,
Interestingly, on the Motorhead front, they were the first band in Sheffield to get done for the smoking ban.
oh, yeah.
Their tour spanned over June and July of that year.
2007.
And Sheffield was the first day on July the 2nd, and Lemmy walked out on stage with a fag, to which all the roadies were going, you can't do that. And he went,
Red Trouble.
I carried on, turned around to the amps and went, turn them up a bit, and just started playing with a fag in his gob. So yeah, he was the first person of note to break the smoking ban in Sheffield. So my favourite festival.
Yes, what's yours? Again, you've got a few more to choose from.
There are a few more.
You're looking up.
I'm looking up, and I'm looking at gig pictures. I'm not looking at lineup.
You're looking at the ceiling, yeah.
But yours only started 2011.
I was a late bloomer when it comes to festivals.
I think for me, not liking thrash like I do, Leeds 2003, which was the first time I saw Metallica. I had bought a ticket solely for Metallica in 2003. It was the last festival at, I want to say round here, which is where it used to be, and now it's moved to Branham Park, I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
It was the last
year. Well, last year when he
whichever place it moved to, it was the last one at the old venue, which I think was Round Here Park in Leeds. There was a couple of issues with that day. Metallica only got a short set, as happened the second time I saw Metallica at Download 2004.
He burnt himself.
It was because System of a Down supported them, and the crowd got so much into the system set they broke the crowd barrier, so we had to spend half an hour moving the crowd back, to which Darren Malkine played Barry White, Let's Get It On guitar and sang on his own. Serge was off doing whatever he does best. Probably something political.
Yes, I know.
Serge.
He was writing a thesis probably backstage.
The interesting thing for me was, at the time, I was also quite into the Used, and I believe Sugar Cult were the band as well at the time. And I had a picture with the lead singer of Sugar Cult. The first Wall of Death at my first festival was to the Used, believe it or not.
Really?
Yes.
My first was Bullet for My Valentine.
The Used, the emo band of the century, did. We're not talking about emo. This will be explained in another podcast. We are not talking about emo now. Yes, Used was the first Wall of Death I was ever involved in.
Interesting. I'm probably the only person in history to be accidentally in a Wall of Death. When we went to go see Ailstorm in Camden,
Captain Morgan's
Revenge, which is famous, obviously lots of drum and the C parts, as it were.
Yes.
And where Electric Ballroom, was it in Camden? Yes, which is quite a narrow venue actually.
Yeah, it's long, isn't it?
It's longer rather than it is wide.
Is it like Corp, where it's really deep as such, but
yeah, but it's not even as wide as Corp. It's not even, yeah, it's
it is significantly longer.
Yeah, and it's not got a random barricade in the middle either.
Yes.
Yeah. So they went, right, Captain Morgan's Revenge. So the entire sea starts to part, and we were quite to one side of the stage. Thought I won't come back this far, and then suddenly sort of everything kind of enveloped around me, and I was kind of like, why is everyone over there? And I looked, and there was just space in front of me. And I was there holding my drink going, what? And then I just caught eyes with the guy on the other side of the wall there who locked eyes with me. I was like, oh God, I'm going to die. I'm accidentally Wall of Death. And then the Wall of Death started. And I swear to this day, I didn't move my feet. I was still on the other side of that room as the entire wall surged forward. And then I go, I don't want to be here. I'm out of my depth. And I kind of just got pushed into it. I survived.
Was the Wall of Death this year at Bloodstock? Oh no, we did one for Raised by Owls before you got there.
Yeah.
And then Creator.
a Creator
was
Wall.
always Wall of Death for
Creator.
Creator.
What did they do?
He called for it as well.
Was it a Flag of Hate?
It might have been Flag of Hate or Violent Aggression.
Violent Aggression, one of those two.
Really weirdly, the first circle pit I was ever involved in was Newfound Glory.
It's interesting that we're getting onto this first circle pit, first Wall of Death, because my first circle pit was accidental, much as your Wall of Death was. And I say accidental because even if I saw them tomorrow, in my newfound love of pits, I still would, on principle, not go in the pit. And that is Dragon Force at Black Crusade 2007. And it was one of those things that two opened up side by side directly behind me, and it created like a whirlwind effect in that because they were going opposite directions, everybody who was in front of them were just slowly getting sucked in. It's like everybody was just, oh dear, okay, this is happening. And then I was in and that's where I cracked a bone in my foot in my first ever pit. Still stayed there.
Just based on circle pits, has anybody used a circle pit to their advantage?
How would you do that?
I went to see Iron Maiden in 2007 on the Matter of Life and Death tour at Sheffield Arena, and Trivium, which is a band that Jake apparently likes, were supporting.
I like it's not going to go at me, only you. I quite like Trivium as well, but yeah.
They were supporting, and the people I went with were not bothered by seeing Trivium at all. They were also sitting down and I was standing. So we got in at about the time we thought Trivium would be ending, which was true. They were just about to play their last song, which was Pull Harder on the Strings of Martyr. I'd got so far to the front, and Matt Heafy said, open up a circle pit, to which everybody did. I was at the very back of the circle pit when it opened. I went halfway around and stopped on the barrier, ready for Iron Maiden. So, by using that to your advantage, that's what I mean.
Okay, so have you ever got yourself more forward? Yeah, I did that once, but I'm not going to talk about it now because I'm somewhat embarrassed. James is not. James believes in, you liked what you liked back in the day, so... using a mosh pit to get to the front, ready for Five Finger Death Punch.
Oh, I thought you said Nicki Minaj, so that's fine.
Yeah, how many mosh pits do you know of happening at Nicki Minaj?
Again, I think you some accidental mosh pits probably at Nicki Minaj.
Fair enough. I have pitted to My Way by Frank Sinatra and Dex's Midnight Runners, weirdly.
I've pitted to This Way to Amarillo before, which is one of the
Co-op.
it was one of the weirdest experiences.
Back to festivals.
That's what this episode is. Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered best. We've probably covered firsts in that also. What makes the festival? What is it? The lineup? Is it the shops, the food, the whole experience, the people you go with? Would you go to a festival on your own and still have a good time? What makes the ultimate festival? What you said that 2018 was probably better than 17 because of the people you went with.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there has to be at least one headliner.
Okay.
So, like for example, this year at Bloodstock, with the original lineup as it were after last year because of COVID, whatever. So the original lineup was announced for 2021. I wasn't bothered about. I wasn't bothered by any of the headliners because it was Devin Townsend, Judas Priest, and Behemoth. Was it Behemoth?
Before Merciful.
Oh yeah, because they already went. So Behemoth, who I'm not.
Behemoth were last year, weren't they? And then Dave pulled out.
They were unable to do this year, which is when they brought Merciful Fate in, but then they also weren't able to because of COVID and then Creator.
There were lots of bands, to use a wrestling term, on the undercard that I would, there was Skin Dreads again. There was Glory Hammer. Probably for the last time that we'll ever see Glory Hammer. Yeah. And there were a few other bands I go, I've never seen them. I'd quite like to see them. But I thought there wasn't a headline that I was bothered about. Mm-hmm. And then when Creator was announced to fill in for Behemoth, I was like, oh, I really want to see Creator. So the fact there was one band, one headliner, just because I feel like the money you're paying, for me there has to be one thing.
Paying for a festival?
Yeah.
That's an original thing.
I feel like when we got back, we paid for it. I feel like
you're paying for it right now.
Yeah.
For a little background on that snarky little comment from Rob there, James and I attended Bloodstock this year for free because Rob, who was unable to attend, won free tickets. Why he entered a competition, we don't know. Fate.
Yeah, when you couldn't go to the damn thing, you entered the competition.
So Rob was unable to go, even though Rob won the tickets, and me and James, like good friends, in solidarity with our brother, went.
We went on his behalf, and we celebrated on his behalf.
We represented Rob, shall we say?
Of course you did.
Yeah, we did.
So we held you in our hearts for the entire weekend.
Yes.
So for me, there has to be at least one headliner.
And to be fair, they brought lots of merch back for me.
Yes, we brought lots of presents.
They did, yes.
So, but then again, but the whole experience of going, the fact there was a group of us going, it was really nice. It was just, it's everything. It's the moment you walk through the gate. There's everything. Who you're camping with, Not necessarily the shops, because I've never been bothered by the shops. I've barely bought, other than the official merch shirt of the festival, I've bought very little out of festivals. Compared to other, you see other people come back with hordes and hordes of CDs, random bits of merch you've never seen before, lots of patches, X, Y, and Z, and I've never really done that. I seem to spend most of my money there on food and drink. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's the entire atmosphere for me, because I don't tend to drink that much in the arena, mainly because I drink rum and coke, so it's very expensive.
You can't afford to drink in the arena.
Well, not only that, but I'm very kind of, I don't like that rum. I want a different rum. And he said, well, this is it. This is all we've got. So I tend not to drink so much. So I drink more back at the camp. So I tend to enjoy myself more back at the camp than I do in the arena. But I still obviously love the arena because it's where all the bands are playing, and you see some random bands you weren't expecting to see. So, like for example, again this year, Devin Townsend, who me and Jake weren't bothered about at all, we both come out of that thinking he's brilliant,
and we've both listened to him a lot since.
And I've actually bought one of his albums since then. I was really, really impressed and thought he put on a great show. And nothing's changed musically, but just now seeing it live,
I suppose it adds a little sort of background or understanding to what his music is.
Yeah.
I think a lot of his music is very the whole Ziltoid stuff and
He's changed a lot though, from his.
Oh god, yeah, from Strapping
I
Lads.
love the fact that Ziltoid looks like him in Strapping Leather with the Predator.
Well, he's got the same hair. I wouldn't say he looks like him.
Well, he's not the best. Sorry, Devin, but it's not. If you're listening, probably not.
I don't know, it's Devin, you never bloody know it.
Well, yes.
Hi, Devi!
we enjoyed your set.
We did.
Anyway.
As mentioned, I didn't go, so I didn't enjoy your set.
But you saw it through us. That's what
Yes,
counts.
I did. Yes, indeed.
For me, it's pretty much a lot of the same. It's there needs to be something. Although, if there isn't something and I've got the opportunity to go, I probably still would. I know that sounds weird. There's not been a festival, there's not been a download or a Bloodstock since I first started going to festivals where there's not been at least one band I want to see. So therefore there's always going to be, with regards to that argument, somebody I want to see. Therefore, if the opportunity was there and I had the money to do it, yeah, I would go regardless of the lineup. But again, on the other side of that is the social side of being at a festival and the sat around camp drinking. The more I think about it, the more that is the bit I enjoy. The bit I enjoy the most. I mean, when it comes to Bloodstock, I do it completely. I plan. I like to make sure everybody's ready, and I like to make sure everybody leaves at the same time so that we can get.
You're definitely the daddy group when it comes to the
Camp
festival,
Daddy.
yeah.
Camp Daddy this year apparently.
Daddy.
Yeah. So I like the idea of us all being able to get there roughly around the same time so that we know we can camp together. We can get the spot that we want to. I like to make sure that we're all.
We can start drinking in the queue together.
Yeah.
That's when I turn up.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I never drank in the queue before.
Before we met you, yeah.
Before
Till
2018. Yeah. And then I did it this year. We started drinking in queue, and half pint were like, okay then, yeah. And I gave him a drink. And
But when you came down to meet me, you were drinking on the way to meet me to queue up again to go back in again.
I see no problem with this.
Your point.
It's an observation, it's not a criticism. There's a difference.
Yeah. So for me, obviously the lineup is always important in the run up. But if the opportunity came up to go to a festival that there was maybe only one or two undercard bands that I were fussed about and no headliners, I think I probably would. The big sort of turning point on that would again be this year, because I would never go on the strength of Devin Townsend, but having really enjoyed his set this year, it just goes to prove to you, if it's a band you don't know of, or rather you've not really listened to much of, or maybe don't quite translate on album or anything like that, if it's a band that you know you don't like Megadeth or whatever, then I won't go. But
Did they not headline in 17 when you went?
and did we go and see them?
No.
I didn't say you went to see them, you still went to the festival. There was just one point I wanted to ask on. You said there's got to be somebody that you want to see. So 2014 was the first Bloodstock I went to, and knowing that you two both like Evil Scarecrow, 14 was the first year I'd seen them. They opened the stage on Saturday morning. Would you have gone on the strength of Evil Scarecrow?
No, because
But there's one band. Jake said one band would get him there.
so not for me. There has to be at least one headliner.
One headliner.
The only way
You said one headliner, didn't you?
You didn't. You said one band. Would you go on the strength of Evil Scarecrow, for example, or Hell, as you mentioned? if they were opening up the stage on one day, whichever day it was, doesn't matter.
And that was the only band.
That was the only band that you'd got in mind that you had to see that weekend.
See, it's interesting because...
Now you've seen Devon, it's different, but...
There's variables because is there bands on the bill that I've never seen before? Because I'm generally up for seeing any band I've never seen before. So if there is enough on there...
Not an entire festival with the band you've never seen before.
No.
Bar one.
It's one of them. I think for the sake of going, and if there was enough people going, I don't think I'd go on my own.
No.
So in answer to your question, yes, I probably would.
If there were people going.
But if there were other people going...
So then the social aspect is the...
That's what brings it up to a...
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever go to a festival on my own.
No.
I may travel on my own and meet other people there. If I knew there was like, oh, I know so and so and so and so's going to be there in this camp, I might do that and meet up with them. But I wouldn't go not knowing anybody there, not knowing a thing. I would not do that.
I would go on my own to a festival. Probably wouldn't enjoy it as much because there's not the social aspect of it.
But that's the beautiful thing about festivals
You
and
meet-
Bloodstock in particular. You meet people there.
Actually, no, that's the one thing about. I know there seems to be. I don't want to use the term cult, but
There's a
just
cult following.
there is a cult following to Bloodstock in the sense that everyone says, "Oh, it's a family," he does, and it genuinely actually is. There's a lovely atmosphere around Bloodstock, maybe because it is that bit small. I mean, this year was a little bit different because there were a lot of people there who weren't used to Bloodstock because they just wanted to go to a festival this year. So it gave it slightly
One of the
different
first festivals that's open that plays the sort of music we listen to. Let's go.
Well, yeah, and
Which is understandable.
Yeah, and I'm saying a lot of people were out of practice from drinking that much and seeing that out of band, so it was understandable. It had a slightly different vibe this year.
Not in the least does.
No, yeah, it's fine. But every other year we've been, it has been really nice atmosphere because you are in a group, you are in a big group of people, and that's one thing about metal is that it has so many different facets to it. There's metal. But there's power metal, there's black metal, there's death metal, there's melodic death metal, there's Norwegian black metal. There's so many offshoots of this one term.
I don't think you're ever on your own.
No, and you're always going to find something new. Like I've discovered new bands of Bloodstock from genres I wasn't even bothered by.
Yeah. To be fair though, the 2018, as we've mentioned, I would have never gone to see Odin Ogan.
Oh, you really enjoyed them, didn't
And
you?
I really enjoyed that. I thought they were really good. I'm not a massive power metal fan. I thought they were really good. They did what they did, and they did it well, even though they were all out of sync because the bassist is the singer, but
He'd broken his thumb.
He'd broken his thumb, so couldn't play bass, so he was just the singer, and they got a new bassist
Did
in.
the guitar? I can't.
There was something.
There was meant to be two guitarists and a bassist, and there wasn't. There were one down, but I can't remember which one they were down.
Don't he normally play the bass or the lead
No,
singer?
I think he plays guitar, and it was the bassist who then ended up playing rhythm guitar.
Yeah.
I think. Don't hold me to that. I can't remember. I've slept and drank a lot since then, so I can't really remember.
There was some,
Yeah, so it didn't quite sound as good as. I mean, his voice sounded as good as ever, but musically they didn't quite sound right. But they went down a storm that weekend because they put on a fantastic show.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that about power metal anyway. It's all about the entire presentation.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just have to be pyro and stuff like that, but it's the entire presentation of, right, here we are, it's 100 miles an hour, let's go.
Yeah.
This is power metal. And that's what I like about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, who's it like? I'm not a big fan of Danny Filth, but I ended up quite enjoying Devilment the other year. I thought they put on quite a decent show, and I thought, okay, this is not normally the type of metal I would listen to, but you know what? They're really, really good.
It was better than Cradle of Filth this year.
I mean, yeah, it's again that's a low bar to clear. I think than being better.
Danny James is a big Doctor Who fan, so you've got to cut him.
I want to hate a man.
I love how we're always expecting famous people to be listening to this, but if you are, thank you.
Yeah, have you heard of these three blokes from the north who talk about crap in a cabin and put it on?
Look, as approved the other day when we listened to this band called Twisted, Danny Filth turns up everywhere.
Oh God, I know. But I can't hate a man who owns a Dalek. I can't. I want to hate Danny Filth, but he owns a Dalek. How can I hate a man who owns a Dalek? And I believe he had it commissioned built as well. He's not off the shelf as well. He had it one
Right,
built.
stop your hatred, or not hatred.
Okay,
Back to festivals.
Back to festivals.
Because we could end up on a whole different scenario.
Stop talking about how much James wants to play with Danny Filth as plunger.
Oh dear. Did I answer that question? No.
What was the question? What was the question?
What makes a festival?
No, I don't think you did answer that question.
I did not.
Right.
I used to go download every year. To me, it didn't matter who was on that bill. If there were a band I didn't like, I wouldn't go watch them. I'd stay at camp. So for me, it was always camp. Until I started going to Bloodstock, and then you get the bands and the camp, and it kind of changed the perspective. Because I was a download kid through and through. I would have always gone to download until we had our daughter, who is now 6. And it's kind of changed a little bit now, and so now Bloodstock has become that festival for me because I get a mixture of.
I think there's always going to be something, even if you don't know who they are, there's always going to be something that you might enjoy.
There's
of
usually a
Bloodstock.
small element of thrash,
Just a little.
which is...
Puts you off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We need to stop joking about me not liking thrash. Because I love thrash. I think I answered that one.
Yeah. Eventually, yeah.
It got there when you two stopped rambling. Okay, so this is something we've discussed many times in the cabin. Mainly mine, not James's, because this is only the second time in James's cabin.
No, third, fourth, a few.
Third for me.
Third
Oh,
for
it's
you.
only
So
second
the same
for
one for
Rob.
me.
Is it?
Yeah. So, generic festival, or generic metal festival, or generic festival in general. Ultimate 3 headliners for your festival.
And are we talking dead or alive?
We are talking ultimate festival.
So we
You can do whatever you want. You can have whoever you want playing.
Okay.
We're just talking headliners.
Yes, because otherwise that's a very long conversation.
Say, yeah.
And I don't think they want to listen to 4 hours of this podcast.
Yes, start putting out every morning show. And on the unsigned stage, I want.
Yeah. On the New Blood stage, there will be this one, this one, this one.
You ain't never heard of them? Well then.
Yeah, so sort of touch on what works for me, and it's what Bloodstock do as well in terms of their headliners. Is they have something heavy, modern, they have something alternative, and they have something classic. So to use that model, it works very nicely for me.
Download doo-doo.
Doo-doo.
Doo-doo. Similar, except the heavy doesn't tend to be the same
Right.
level of heavy as Bloodstock.
Okay.
Is.
So for me, the perfect is alternative or something a bit different on the Friday night, heavy on the Saturday night, classic on the Sunday
Classic
night.
sing-along, let's go home drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
So
go.
for me, Sunday night headline is locked in straight away. Freddie Mercury era Queen.
You mean the only era of Queen?
No, they still exist. Let's be
No,
honest.
Queen and Adam Lambert.
No,
exists.
I really liked the
So the album, the live album.
the
that they
Queen-
released.
Ah, to be fair, that is
no,
that's
the
fine.
Cosmos Rocks, the Paul Rogers era, Queen Paul
I've not
Rogers.
heard much of the Paul Rogers stuff.
Their album was really good.
Was it?
It was very much bad free Queen. There was
That sounds like a really bad slogan to take down the monarchy, doesn't it?
there was clearly Queen elements.
What do we want?
Bad free.
What?
There were clearly free elements, and there were clearly bad company elements. But it worked because the Queen band, such as it is now, which is Roger Taylor and Brian May, did the free stuff, which made it a little bit better. And I was quite glad that they didn't just say, right, you're in Queen, so you're now doing the Queen stuff. They did all of Paul Rogers stuff as well. So it probably reduced a lot from the Queen era, because you weren't going to get a lot of the Queen stuff because you now got other stuff in. But that was a pretty good era for me. I quite enjoyed that one.
Okay.
Modern heavy, tough one. I would go with Ghost on the alternative Friday night because they're in the holy trinity of my favourite 3 bands. So I would put Ghost on the Friday night. In my opinion, put on a fantastic show in 2017. So it's an easy decision to put them there. And because I've just mentioned my holy trinity of my 3 favourite bands, I would put Trivium on the Saturday night.
So that'd be your 3 headliners.
Ghost, Trivium, and Queen.
That's a
There's
very
a mix.
that's a very random festival.
There's a mix
That
for
I
you.
think surprisingly a lot of people would go to.
You've started headlining Download, and then you've just downgraded to Bloodstock. Not that it's a downgrade, but
It's a smaller
the
festival.
smaller festival,
Yeah.
the amount of people that could go. I don't think Trivium, Ghost maybe could, with some other headlines that Download could eventually headline Download. I think.
Eventually, they will.
I don't think Trivium could. I mean, opened in 2005 when I first saw Trivium. Back when Matty had spiky hair and his big earplugs.
Yeah, stretching.
See, I don't know. It's like I agree with Jake's theory that the 3 headliners should be something slightly different. It shouldn't be 3 of the exact same headliners. So it shouldn't be this. So for example, your 3 headliners shouldn't be, Dragon Force, Sabaton, and Powerwolf.
That would get,
Okay. To be fair, Dragon Force aren't the same as
that would, yeah, but that would get pretty boring quickly.
Yeah,
For me, certainly. Not so much for you. You might enjoy that, James.
Oh no, Dragon Force a bit of that. But you don't want the same thing
No.
3 times because otherwise it's not. Again, for metal and rock as a whole, it's wonderful because it's such a robust genre that can do quite a lot. I'm sure other genres can as well, but speaking from experience. So for me, I'd have to, for my ultimate festival, I'm going to go and try and appeal to 3 different parts of my brain. So one night would be for me Disturbed, because Disturbed are my band of my youth. They're the band that got me into rock, the band that got me into metal, and I still love them. Maybe not as much as I did, but I still love them to this day. The second headliner, It's a choice between two. It's a choice between either Sabaton or Amon Amarth.
Two different
Two
bands,
different, but you'll
to
see
be
why
fair.
these two are in this space when I reveal my third headliner.
Okay. Is it the other one that doesn't make sense?
It's simply because they've put on some of the best live shows I've ever seen.
Okay, fair enough.
Sabaton, it's a full production. You've got
Yeah.
pyro, you've got it's 100 again. It's power metal, so it's 100 miles an hour, things like that. But Amon Amarth, it's just such an intense gig. It's really, it's fast and furious. It's melodic death metal. It's really, really heavy stuff and just proper headbanging, proper going for it type metal. Just losing yourself in the music. And to completely counteract that, my third headliner would be Pink Floyd.
I knew that would come in.
I did.
Again, kind of the same reason you were saying about Queen on the Sunday night.
Is that a certain era? Oh, when they were still together as such? Because
I'd argue, I'd say the era would be before Roger Waters left, but they're still doing some of the Syd Barrett stuff. Okay. As much as I like some of the songs they did after Roger left, for me, my favourite album is Wish You Were Here, which is that lineup. He left not that long after that album. Yeah, that would be my favorite because everyone knows him. It's that kind of not a come down because obviously Pink Floyd have got almost a melancholy vibe to a lot of their songs, but it's that very kind of chill, very kind of everyone knows this music. Everyone's just getting lost in the music. So I remember the first time I went to go see the Australian Pink Floyd, who were really, really great. And obviously the only gigs I've been to at that point were proper, pitting, you go for it, stuff like that. I was going with my dad, and I was like, we're in the pit. I was like, there's a pit at Pink Floyd? He went, no, we sat down. I went, oh. He went, no, this is not a gig you move to. You sit and you listen.
you enjoy.
You enjoy. So that kind of three very different bands, three very different vibes. Okay.
Although Disturbed, Amon Amarth and Sabaton all do a full production, so
the three very different shows.
Yeah.
The three very different types before. And Pink Floyd, you've got the full light show. You've got because Pink Floyd, for lack of a better term, there's not a big stage presence.
No,
they stand there, they perform, but there's lights, the projection. It's the atmosphere of the show. Whereas compared to Sabaton, where they're all dressed in camo, there's things happening, there's stuff flying. It's all that type of thing. So I think if you were to ask me tomorrow, I'll probably give you three completely different headliners. Tanks to you as well.
Lots of tanks.
Lots of tanks. So yeah, I think that would.
I don't ever see any tanks at Amon Amarth.
Have you never heard of the Vikings who came, the armoured Viking division of the Swedish army?
I don't know if I've been to mine, really.
Well, can you think of an actual festival that has got the three ultimate headliners for you that you've been to?
Yeah, but I can't look at the poster because we're not in my cabin.
Well, who's false that?
The wife, you've got all the car boot stuff. Hang on, bear me 1 second. I think Download 2012 was pretty close. It was Black Sabbath, I know that.
Oh, okay.
Yes. An Offspring?
Yeah.
Offspring headline?
No, it wasn't Offspring. Download 2012 was a very odd lineup. I actually did watch all three headliners and I really enjoyed all three. They did stick kind of to the classic, the alternative and the heavy. So on the Sunday night, closing the festival, which could be argued they were the heavy band, the godfathers of heavy metal, Black Sabbath. On the Saturday night, playing an album in full, which was the Black Album, a thrash band called Metallica.
Never heard of them.
And
Who's she?
Rachel.
On the Friday night, a complete tonal shift was the Prodigy. Headline. Their headline Download.
That was where I was getting Pendulum from the other day. I knew
In
some form
2012.
of dance band had headlined it at some point.
There is the lineup, official from the Download website.
Oh, I can see that on your wall.
I did watch a bit of Slash, who was headlining the second stage, but I did watch the majority of Prodigy's set. It was something that in 2006 Download, Guns N' Roses headlined on Sunday night. Well, Axl and his band of whoever was in the band at the time headlined the main stage, and Prodigy were on the second stage. I remember saying to the people I was with at the time, if Axl can still sing, I'm staying. If he sounds shit, I'm going to watch Prodigy. He came out and they opened with Welcome to the Jungle. And he hit that first note and I went, I'm going to stay here. So, not that Miles cannot do the stuff that Axl can, he can, but watching Slash and an actual Takeoff doing the Guns N' Roses stuff didn't quite cut it on a Friday night, so I wanted to watch the band that I knew I would enjoy more, and I watched Prodigy. So that was a pretty good one. Not that I'm a massive Prodigy fan by any stretch of the imagination.
I do think that there was a moment during Bloodstock this year where we were in the tent after hours, and I think it was Invaders Must Die.
I thought it was Omen.
Oh no, Omen and then Invaders Must Die.
Oh, they go into one or the other?
They both, and it was one of those that obviously a tent full of metalheads.
Yeah, it's
just
not.
It was 1 in the morning, so also
dancing.
completely off the
It's
rails.
not it's not a metal thing by any stretch of the
But
imagination.
everybody knows it.
But everybody's
it's stuff
there,
that people
everybody's
know,
for it.
and they just got on with it and had a good time. So
But Prodigy's one of those weird ones that metal, even though they're not metal, a lot of metalheads, a lot of people who are into metal
drum
like
and
it.
bass,
Yeah.
drum and bass. It's
I mean,
But I don't like. But it's a weird thing. I don't like drum and bass.
I don't. But
I like Prodigy.
Yeah, I like Prodigy. Seems to be one of those ones that
I never got Chasing Status or Pendulum. I never got them. They were like Prodigy light. They just tried to rip off.
There's a couple of songs by Pendulum I don't like.
Yeah.
But were they more dubstep? Is that still a
Although
thing?
listening to Pendulum trying to do Master of Puppets was
that was sad in 2009,
was quite funny.
just before Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
I remember.
was
I
also
was fast,
terrible.
I was fast asleep. I remember being asleep.
Oh,
and
you're a
then
sugar high as well.
it was like, dun, 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 and he was like, "You like that? Download? You like that?" And I was just like, "No,
Let me sleep again.
I do not care for this. So would you say that is your ultimate festival then? Ultimate headliners then?
I don't think it's ultimate headliners, but I think out of all the festivals I've been to, I can't think of because that's a download festival, so it's a 100,000 plus festival. I can't really think of an alternative band that would cut that other slot, really,
without like enough."
without going to a very specific Queen at Wembley type.
If we're talking ultimates, then it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. But I get what you're saying. As near as realism comes to, obviously you can't see Prodigy anymore. Yeah. But yeah, I suppose as ultimate, this is actually happening. Is what I'm actually going to do.
I think because I didn't expect a lot from Prodigy. I wanted to see him, and I didn't expect a great deal because I thought it. Sorry to the people that like Prodigy, be full of knobheads. I speak from experience. There were more thefts that year. There were more thefts in the pit that year. There were people that had gone to see Prodigy and try and get whatever they could out of that festival. Yeah, I wouldn't put Prodigy at a download again for that reason because it attracts people that
Attracts the ravers.
Yeah, which Bloodstock doesn't do. Although this year was kind of different because of the festival and let's go to a festival. So that's the only one that's on. So let's just go there. But yeah, it was a pretty good festival. The lineup was a strong lineup anyway. But the headliners I thought were deserved. All three of them. They were all at a certain point. Obviously, Metallica were doing an album in full, which was their 21st anniversary. They started the anniversary of the Black Album in 2011, and they carried it on to the download in 2012. Black Sabbath had just reformed again for the 300th time with Bill Ward. So it was the full original lineup of Black Sabbath. And then Prodigy were, although I much prefer to watch this, they were kind of like the outstanding band because they put on a show that I didn't expect. I didn't know what to expect going in, but that was a really good show. The other headliner that really amazed me, you went in 2009? Faith No More.
I only saw
They were brilliant.
Sort of 4 or 5 songs.
They were brilliant, absolutely.
I had something of a attack of the flowers.
Hay fever?
Hay fever, thank you. I had a hay
When you
fever.
got mugged in the street, all these dandelions coming at you going, "Where's your money? Where's your money?"
A hay fever attack, and I had to go into Castle Donington to buy tablets.
It means beer.
Yes, more beer.
They were really good though. They were.
Yeah, what we saw.
I've seen them since as well. I saw them at British Summertime in 2014, along with Soundgarden and, strangely enough, Black Sabbath and Motorhead. But yeah, so yeah, I think all round that was a pretty good festival that I've been to, and the difference in the headliners, although Black Sabbath, Metallica could be classed as classic and heavy.
Metallica's kind of fallen into, because it's one of them. They've been around for so long now. They've started to be pushed into that classic category, even though they're still going and still making
But
new
also,
music.
by the same token, Black Sabbath could be the heavy band. And when I went to download in 2005, Black Sabbath were the Saturday night headliner. They were the heavy band.
So who were the two headlines that year?
2005 was Feeder.
Bloody hell.
Feeder headlined.
That brief moment in time, Feeder were extremely popular.
Feeder headline with support from Garbage.
God, that's a
Shirley
British
Manson.
That's a British festival, isn't it?
Black Sabbath again with Bill Ward. Oh no, sorry, I tell a lie. Bill Ward did 2005. Tommy Clefitis did 2014 because they didn't think Bill Ward could hack the drums what they wanted to play. Tommy Clefitis was Ozzy's touring drummer on Ozzy's solo tour,
Right.
and then the Sunday night System of a Down.
Back when they were relevant and
But-
people liked them.
But also that was backwards because Sunday is classic, but yeah, they put System on the Sun.
Yeah.
But
The
again,
System are the heavy band of that, but again, it was very.
but they get about these are things that we are saying. There's
Yeah.
no official. Oh,
No.
Friday is this, Saturday is this.
No,
These
no,
are just
I'd
things
say,
we're putting onto
I'd
it.
say it's a formula that Bloodstock seem to follow
Yeah.
more than
Anybody else.
than-
Download have done it for a long time, but describe a typical day.
Typical or your ideal day?
Because a typical day starts with a hangover, but an ideal day doesn't start with a hangover.
A hangover and you stood outside your tent going, beer?
Me waking up with half a sausage sticking out of the ground. Brr. By that I mean a sausage sandwich, not an actual. Yeah, okay.
Describe your. Okay, I'm going to be really specific.
Go on. We like specific.
You've mentioned
We've
it
never
before.
done it before, so we might as well be specific. now.
Describe your specific Saturday at Bloodstock.
Okay, so that's a tough one because Saturday is typically my down day at a festival. It's usually the day where
I don't
I'm
have
a bit
down
like,
days.
yeah. I've drunk too much the past 3 days. I need to calm down a little bit now. So that sort of day. So that's interesting. We're going to assume that Jake doesn't do that then.
No. Your typical Jake's typical Saturday Bloodstock.
Okay. So yeah, as James said, wake up with a hangover, but quickly start drinking again. Probably relatively
You
soon.
don't start drinking again.
Don't know once we're into the swing of things.
If
After the
I'm
first
there, you
night-
don't.
No, after the first night, yeah, admittedly, I'm something of a sucker for peer pressure and such. So the first night at Bloodstock when we went together, yeah, granted, the next morning was difficult, but I was in the swing of things after that, so we were all right. So Saturday, wake up, die a little bit, then start drinking again. Some sort of cheese-related snack to start off with. Easy cheesy. You can't go wrong with easy cheesy.
You can, your arteries can bloody explode.
Yeah, you get absolutely. There's everything that's wrong with it, but somehow it works.
For those who don't know what Easy Cheesy is, it was this burger cum sausage van that did some standard burgers and then would ask, would you like cheese on that? And I would say, yes, I would like cheese on that, thinking it was a slice of cheese or a little bit of cheese sauce. No, what they did was they cut the burger in between a pair of tongs and stuck it,
Submerged it.
submerged it, is a better word, into a vat of cheese and just pulled it out. And looking at this, I could feel my heart just going, no, just don't
You're
do
going
that.
to die.
Just don't do that. It'll take years off your life. And I've already lost about 20. I can't afford to lose any more.
Usually served to you by a lady called Miserable Linda. If you're listening, Miserable Linda. Don't know if that'll be picked up.
That's heart palpitations, isn't it? By the sounds of it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so after the cheese-related breakfast, I think a classic band to get you into the day.
Okay.
A classic band, nothing too heavy, nothing too involved, and probably preferably nothing that you know too well, because then you're going to feel obliged to be well in there. But then the argument could be said that you want one of those bands so that it does knock you out your fug and get you into the day. But yeah, I'm thinking like Diamond Head.
I was just thinking about Diamond Head.
Diamond Head
actually,
were fantastic as an opening band for us that day, simply because we were like, after several days of drinking and easy cheesy. Ideally, then for me, a nap, and I know that's like a ridiculous thing to say at a festival, but as I've got older, the festival nap has become one of those sort of. It's like a holy grail.
That's what you do
type
when you go
thing.
to bed.
No, you do it
nap-
then as
You
well.
don't go to bed.
A nap between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. is kind of what you do.
The hours are known as not drinking. But for
Them
me,
too.
for me, having that nap, and it's usually that nap is just like, it's a solid gold nap.
Yeah.
And wake up and you're ready. And if my favoured Bloodstock formula is to be adhered to, that night is the heavy band. The perfect example of which would be probably next year, but also 2013 when Lamb of God headlined. And that was just like straight out of it then. As soon as Lamb of God started playing, I feared for my life at several points through that because it was terrifying. But also a lot of fun, and like I say, it snapped it out. So yeah, if we're going on what my Saturdays are normally like at a festival, possibly something a lot more gentle, something that eases me into the day before being able to have that golden nap, and then from sort of 4 onwards, just drink and pit and enjoy the band, the heavy band.
Okay.
James?
Am I doing a Saturday, or do you want me to do a different day?
You're
Do the Sunday. Do the Sunday because it's the.
Because that's your
day.
party day.
Well, the Sunday, I always see now the way you describe Saturday is kind of how I feel about Sunday, because everyone's kind of in that mood of, oh, it's the last day. Well, you've got 1 or 2 people going, oh, it's the last day, or you have that, oh, it's the last day, let's go ape shit.
Yeah.
Let's drink everything I've got left.
I can't be bothered to take us back to the car. Let me drink it.
2018.
So for me, again, wake up, nice leisurely morning, because stuff doesn't tend to start till about 10:30, 11 o'clock anyway, so it's a nice leisurely morning. Go into the arena, and for me, the Sunday, not a party day, but more a kind of a classic day. Everyone's in a much
Sing along.
Yeah, everyone's in a more chilled out kind of atmosphere. Everyone's kind of going, yeah, it's coming to an end. We've been here 4, 5, maybe 6 days at this point, depending what festival it is.
12 if it's Hellfest next year.
God, I know, Jesus.
Or metal days. That's like a week, innit?
So all these things, like, so it all adds to that Sunday. So it's like, yeah, this is kind of party. The end is in sight, and for the makers of the festival as well. It's like all this hard work. It's the last day. Tomorrow we're starting to take it down again. So it's a kind of a cathartic feel to it. So for me, the bands have to be not necessarily classics, but bands that a lot of people recognise or have a certain vibe to them. I mean, I'm still happy to go see, your bands on your smaller stages that you might not have heard of, or, completely random bands you'd have gone, oh, all right, I didn't know they were still going. Go off and seeing them. But again, a key slot for me is sort of middle afternoon on the Sunday, about 4 or 5 o'clock. Everyone's
what was it? Gun? Mr. Big.
Mr. Big
in 2018.
Mr. Big in 2018. This year was. Would it be Glory Hammer this year?
Saxon.
No, Saxon were a little bit later.
I'd say Glory Hammer were in this year.
But the other year it was Dee Snider.
Dee Snider.
It was Dee Snider the other year. So that is a key moment, I think, to really get the vibe of the weekend right. So I've always had a perfect band for that slot, especially at Bloodstock. A perfect band is Status Quo.
I quite agree.
Most people know at least one Status Quo song, which means they know every Status Quo song.
Just about to say, if they know one, they know them all.
I love Status Quo. I think they're amazing. They're one of the best bands I've ever seen live. They're so much fun.
Yeah.
You've not seen the Frantic Four?
No, because I'm not old like you. And so them doing 45 minutes of all the hits everybody knows.
It'd have to be everything in the Army Now, Caroline.
Oh, it would be. Which, to be fair, the set that the Status Quo always play. Starting off 100 miles an hour, Caroline, finishing with Rockin' All Over the World, whatever you want, and Down Down. All really good. And everyone's going, right, we're partying, we're bouncing, we're jumping up and down. And then to finish on a band that everyone knows. So maybe not Pink Floyd, like I said earlier, but a band like, and it wouldn't happen to Bloodstock, but a band like Iron Maiden, a band like
Megadeth.
No. A band, looking at another year, even though we didn't go see it, a band like Scorpions that has got this kind of classic vibe to
Priest.
Yeah, Priest actually. Judas Priest are a good shout for that spot. That most people know, most people can enjoy, even if they don't know all the songs. It's got a certain atmosphere to it. Going, yeah.
Alice Cooper was absolutely
Alice Cooper
fantastic in 12.
To counteract that, I would say also not just classic, but someone like Rob Zombie, who
a sing-along type.
Yeah,
really
party anthems. Yeah. Everyone's going, yep, here we go. This is great. This is really good. It's why actually I think this year Devi would have been pretty good on the Sunday night. I think.
Yeah.
Just for his more anthemic type songs.
But would you have done better than Judas Priest though? If you'd have swapped them headliners.
I think to be fair, no, I think Priest was a better
doing the 50 years.
I think Priest was a better closer this year. But yes, I think that's what I'd put as the ultimate, as my typical / ultimate Sunday. But then in the middle of all that, nice muse around the shops, just poking your head into the tents, going, "Oh, what's this band?" Don't know, and walking off again.
I can't hear it.
I don't know. Blast beats. I'm done. Going to the bars, checking out all the crap merch you've looked at all weekend, going, "I'm not going to buy it," and then buying it anyway.
Or testing of a snare drum. and Martin come on and Jake losing sound.
On the sound check of this Snare Drum family.
Yeah.
That is the only gig I've feared for my life.
So if you've done Saturday, you've done Sunday, I'll
You might as well do Friday.
I'll do Friday. I'm going to pick Friday at Download just because bands do start a lot later on Friday at Download. They start at 1 o'clock.
Oh, it's quite late.
So you've already had
That's
two...
just to give you time to walk the 4
Yeah.
miles. From
Oh, right,
campsite
okay,
to-
yeah, right, okay.
Andy Coppin, we're sorry. But it is a long walk. Yeah, so get up at about 6, 7 with a can in hand.
This is not just a festival.
I know it's just Robin General.
It's just a
isn't it?
normal Friday for Rob.
Don't stop drinking.
Wonder why it's never in work.
Look at your lanyard that says, "Oh yeah, that band's on," and you go, "I want to see them." I carry on drinking for now, and I'll go and see them in a bit. Yeah, and then you look and you go, "Oh, what time was that band on?" 40 minutes ago. Oh, what time's the next one on? I'll wait. It's all right. Don't worry. I'm probably making it in for the headliner. After a day of drinking, there may be some barbecuing of sausage and bacon and bits in there at some point. Maybe brushing teeth. Depending
It's always down at the bottom of the list at
So
festival.
personal hygiene at a
Depending
festival is
on-
really out, yeah.
At least you know that everybody smells as bad as you.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Because showers don't exist. Even if they do, they don't exist.
Well, they speak random topic of personal hygiene. Well, it's not actually. No, it kind of isn't personal hygiene. It's what you do together. We were obviously camping together. Could you hear the couple next to us at night? Because I think our tent, the guy ropes from our tent, were going underneath their tent.
The one who set up
Literally at the
outside
back
your
of
So
our-
tent.
was the tent a rocket?
The tent was definitely rocking at about 3 in the morning. I would wake up and the sheet was kind of going, and it was every night. I was going, fair play to you, but after a couple of days, I don't want to put my own hands down my own one, and I've got those man-sized wet wipes, and I was still a bit wary about going on that.
There are times when I go to the toilet and have a wee at a festival, like you sort of on the 3rd, 4th day, and I just think, ooh.
You get to the point, should I hold it not for the cleanliness of the toilets, but for the cleanliness of yourself? I don't think I want to go anywhere near this stuff now. It's been 4 days of just, what is it, pant gravy or whatever.
Bollock gravy.
Bollock gravy. Bollock gravy. Just 4 days of that, just kind of swimming around.
Bisto.
So before this...
Sorry, what was the topic? Yeah.
Before this conversation descends any further, I mean, it's already gone pretty low. Is there anything that you would like to say or ask or... Any questions that I may have missed about festivals?
One question, really quick fire. Favourite festival food?
Duck fat roasties.
And then roasting duck fat.
Roasted in duck
Oh,
fat.
sorry, you mean roast potatoes in duck fat. Yeah. Right, sorry.
What did you think he meant?
I have no idea. I just imagine this really large duck just going, oh, God.
A duck with a frying pan. Want some roasties?
Sorry, my brain just went, what?
Go to sleep.
I say, it says late on.
James, ultimate festival food. We'll come back to you.
Come back to you.
Bunny Chow.
Bunny
Chow
Explain
this
what-
year was fantastic. Bunny
thought
Chow
we
is
were calling it-
something
it's last-
that has appeared several times at Bloodstock now. It's South African cuisine. It's basically half a loaf of bread, hollowed out, full of chilli, with the innards of the bread grilled or fried in garlic, and then put on top with sour cream as a dip. I've never had it prior to this year at Bloodstock, although it has appeared several times. And I had the veggie option this year, and it was divine.
I would say Yorkshire pudding wraps.
Yorkshire pudding wraps were good.
Yorkshire pudding wraps are great. I mean, it's so British. It's such a British thing to have. I mean, okay, your staple festival food is a burger, a hot dog.
No, your staple festival food is a pot noodle that you have at your campsite.
I
with
never-
the little
I never-
kettle.
You don't do that.
I don't bring food like that. I bring snacks. I just
Oh,
don't
no, I
bring
bring food.
If only because the last thing I want to be doing after I get back to my camp, after I've had a few drinks, is going, oh, let me go and heat this up. Doesn't seem like a good idea. I'm nervous about firing 3 camps down the road. Fire! So doing one myself is probably not the best idea. So, yeah, I think for me it was like a Yorkshire pudding wrap. I think that would be my ideal thing. Although saying that, the pies that we had this year.
Barnaby Sykes
Barnaby
pies.
pies. They were meaty.
Oh, nice.
They were lovely. They were really, really nice, actually. In fact, again, I know we keep talking about Bloodstock a lot, but genuinely, the quality of food at Bloodstock is
Good.
really good. The prices aren't too bad either, especially for festival.
Bad. I certainly noticed this year they seemed obviously, understandably, more expensive, but the quality of food you got was not by much, but still there. Yeah.
Good chicken wrap. You can't go wrong with a good chicken wrap either. Usually sometimes you get 2 meals, like you get like duck fat roasties and then you go and get like a nice chicken wrap.
I mean, but to summarise, we all know that there's nothing better than an easy cheesy burger.
Who's for you? For you, is it easy cheeseburger? Not for us.
No. I couldn't do that now.
I couldn't do it then, let alone now. I did it once and I just regretted it. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of cheese in the first place, but go on,
I like cheese, but not
I just
not
remember
melted cheese. Yeah.
you arriving back at camp with this. And you just looked like, I've paid for this, so I'm going to eat it, but
I don't want it.
I didn't want it. It was basically a vat of cheese with a side of burger. It was basically the best way I could describe it.
Would you like some burger with your
I
cheese?
imagine if I left that on the ground, it would come to there would be archaeologists in years gone by who would find this burger perfectly preserved inside this case of cheese. What about you? So, you say your chicken wrap would be
Chicken wrap or duck fat roasties. Yeah. There's a particular duck fat roasties stall at Download, which is usually somewhere near third stage, which is the tent on the right hand side of the main stage. There's one somewhere up there normally, and it literally is just a big frying pan, a massive frying pan. You've got loads of roast potatoes cut up and fried in goose fat or duck fat.
Here's a quick one for you before we do go. At Bloodstock this year, there was a gaming tent. It didn't have a lot in it. It wasn't massive, but there was a few bits in the gaming tent. Would you say, at a metal festival, what we're talking about, would you say there's a place for that? There's space for that? Or would you say it's the wrong place for it?
It would depend on what games were in it. For me, if it was Mega Drive, Nintendo,
they had everything.
retro.
I've
been living in it.
They had retro. They had PlayStation. They had Nintendo. They had some more modern stuff like Call of Duty and Rocket League.
Mm-hmm.
There was an air hockey table as well.
Yeah.
I think there is a place for it. I think
2014 had an amusement when we went to Bloodstock.
Yeah, Sonic had amusements as
Yeah.
well.
I think there is a place. I think Bloodstock this year needs to be bigger. I think it needs to be bigger and open. Like, I think it'd been better if we'd been open till like 2-3 in the morning because it closed when the headliner came on. I think, if not earlier.
Yeah.
So it was actually closed for a long.
What time does the arena shut at Bloodstock?
About
technically?
2-3
Is it
o'clock. About 2-3 o'clock, I think.
Yeah. The thing that bothered me about the gaming tent, I thought it was a fantastic idea, but there were too many sweaty Fortnite. Yeah, cod of
Oh
war.
God, yeah.
Cod of war.
Cod of war. All these fish with all these.
COD is one thing. It's Call of Duty.
Yeah, a lot of COD players that were, that the people, and they were hogging. It's like, oh, let's see who can beat him, and it's like, oh no, I've won another match, so he stays on. And it's like, I wanted to have a go on Rocket League. I wanted to play that, but there were too many people that were pros.
Well, I played Tekken with that guy, and it really pissed me off because he kept using. I love Tekken. It's my favourite. It's one of my favourite games ever. Tekken 3 especially is one of my favourite games ever. And he was just picking the fighters rather you can button mash with.
Yeah.
So you just do the same like Kroring. You can just keep pressing X. He just keeps doing these rapid fire kicks, which is great. But you do other things. Like if you don't just press the same things, you're not playing a game then.
No, it's like the ones that like when you play Street Fighter and they pick Ken, Ryu or Guile. And it's always the same move, and it's the Sonic Boom or Hadouken or whatever it is. Yeah.
So that kind of thing cheapened it a little. But yes, I think if they expanded on it and worked on it a bit more, I think there's a real place for stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's Bloodstock again. They quite often turn the smallest, well, not the smallest stage, but the New Blood tent into a cinema at night.
Yeah.
So they played things like The Thing and Evil
Download
Dead
have it
and stuff
in
like
the
that.
village. I guess that's the difference between Download.
Children of the Damned as well.
Yeah, because Download's a bigger festival, so they have what is essentially the arena / village at Bloodstock. They have the arena as one thing, and that closes after the headliners finish. But the village is open 24 hours from when you go on Wednesday morning to right through. And that doesn't shut. And there's cinema tents, there's karaoke tents, there's all sorts.
Okay.
All the tents.
Yeah.
Okay.
The last year I went and camped at Download, they'd expanded the camping and they'd got a disco tent in every sort of campsite. But at the bottom of the village they'd got the Wall of Death, the bikes.
Oh right, okay.
which were really good. So
They weren't allowing customers on
yeah.
there.
So me and
I'll
Kev,
say that sounds dangerous.
me and Kev pretty much lived
Yeah.
within that all the time. Because everyone like, ooh, more bikes. But I think we've covered festivals. If there's nothing else, I'm going to kind of paraphrase one of James and Jake's favourite artists. You've been great. This has been Cabin 9. Thank you very much. Good night.